Gaming as a creative medium has so many genres, the rich storylines, the beautiful artworks, and the people creating them within the industry. There's so much to cover. Let's dive into the world of gaming and talk about the experiences and moments we lived through it. Please welcome our guests, Glenn and Du Toit, as we discuss the connection between art and gaming. We are back and we're going to be talking a little bit about art and gaming, something I'm definitely passionate about. And here with me, I have Glenn Kisela and Micheline Du Toit. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with Glenn.
Hello, hi everybody. My name is Glenn Kisela. I am the owner and CEO of Nibble Africa esports organ agency, and I'm also award-winning creative director who's been around in the advertising industry for a while.
I'm Micheline. People know me as Du Toit. I'm a cosplayer, streamer, but I got my start as a makeup artist, so I work a little bit in the film and the fashion industry.
Interesting. I didn't know you were actually a makeup artist. It is our first time chatting today, but I've been following your journey, Micheline, on Instagram with you creating your cosplays for Comic-Con. As we speak, Comic-Con is coming up, and I'm sure you're super excited about that. So what is your process looking like at the moment?
So pretty much at the moment, this year caught me a little bit off guard. So normally what I do is I plan my cosplays ahead, like quite far ahead. So I would pick my cosplays and then I would start breaking them down with reference pictures. Sometimes I use concept art as well. So that's pretty much it. Whereas with this Comic-Con, I already made my cosplays and then a bunch of cool things came up. So I'm crunching till 4:30 in the morning at the moment.
I see this. Glenn, cosplay is something you would get into? I'm going to chat a little bit about...
Maybe. Ask me, you need to give me that because I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah, we're all learning. It's so, you make it look so like exciting and like easy, and I know it's not easy. But I kind of got thrown into that question first, but I wanted to actually ask both of you, where did your creative journey start? You're both involved in gaming in sort of overlapping respects, but where did your journey with gaming and sort of the creative side of gaming start? So Glenn, we'll start with you.
Well, it's always funny. I always talk about this journey. It's a bit of a weird one, but yeah, I mean, I got into advertising at an agency, Ogilvy, which was a really, really great place for me to begin my sort of advertising career. And I came in without actually knowing anything about graphic design or photography or any of those things, and actually learned it on the job. And then through my time at Ogilvy, started to sort of hone my craft and then really lean into, what eventually led to me becoming a creative director. And then that's obviously kind of led to where I am now. The gaming side of it was, obviously, we're the generic, typical cliche answer. I started playing on a Sega. So that's kind of obviously, started back there and even actually the Nintendo 64. So obviously I had a massive passion for gaming. And then when it started turning into more of a career and more of a sort of working space was through my gaming journalism. So I wrote a bunch of things within the gaming industry for over the last, I think it was over 10, 15 years I wrote about it. And so the two have sort of come together with my advertising and sort of my love of gaming into Nibble.
I found this topic to be quite interesting because I was kind of like art, as like a self-proclaimed creative, I like to think I'm creative, not nearly where you guys are, but it's so, you have this sort of concept that like art is everywhere. Like it's so, it's involved in everything you do. So in terms of the gaming and esports side of things, it's like, it's part of every step in the process, So when I think of Glenn, I think of like your creativity when it comes to, your dealings in the corporate world kind of thing, how powerful that creative side of you is. And then with Micheline, I'm kind of like, okay, you're kind of like boots on the ground creative where you're using your hands to create these beautiful things. So I wanted to kind of ask both of you, Micheline, you've just started streaming, or not just, like how long have you been streaming now?
Recently, I think it's like 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. So you're well on your way. What sort of draw do you find art having in the games you choose to play? Do you think it's a big pull for you playing sort of creative games or artistically beautiful games, or do you think it's sort of a subcategory of why you choose games?
So for me personally, I really enjoy concept art in games, whether it's architecture, whether it's the character design. So I really enjoy playing games that are beautiful to look at. It's really immersive for me. I would generally prefer them to like first-person shooter games, playing more role-playing games.
Yeah, I actually just want to like jump in and add to just what Cash sort of said there. Like, I think for me, like the beauty around just art is that you can see it across so many different industries. So, for example, Cash mentioned architecture. I do not know the first thing about it, so please don't ever ask me to help you build anything like a house. But I can really appreciate like concept sketches and the art, and then the process that goes into creating a lot of these beautiful, architectural designs and things. And so, with games, what I really love around games is the conceptual aspect to the art. So how they draw you in, how they bring the feeling of the game to life. It comes across so many different art styles. I mean, I play everything from fighting games like Street Fighter, I've been really getting into, Valorant, of course, getting into the hype around there, to, a game like Paleo, which is cozy gaming, and farming, which is like a whole different world. So yeah, I think there's just beauty in the art and across the board. And it's just conceptually how different artists sort of bring it to life.
Mm-hmm. Kind of comparable to like watching a movie for the visuals and then watching a movie for the narrative, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's definitely the case. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know that both of you are music lovers. I want to find out from you guys how music in gaming impacts your experience of the game. Like I always reference Red Dead Redemption 2. We're talking about it just now. And there's just so many things about the game that I love, and one of the things I love is the music. It's impactful, it's emotional. So what is your experience of music in gaming like, and how important do you think that is?
Gosh, I'll let you go with this one first.
Okay, so I really enjoy music in games. It definitely adds, like I need as many stimulants as possible. So if if the music adds to the visuals, then it gives you different vibes, different energy. It puts you there. My fiance is playing Fallout now, and he would constantly, because we really adore like really old school music. Yeah, he would call me all the time, and I would just watch him play. And the scenes with the songs, I mean, it's just it just puts you there. It's definitely really important. Yeah.
Fallout
no. I mean, I have to agree
that way. Yeah.
Do you want me to read you that without the stimulants part?
No, wait. I was just going to say that's got to be put on a tee. Oh, no.
As I said it, I was like, oh my God.
I've done like several things today that made me feel like that, so don't worry.
As many stimulants as possible.
No, listen, I think that was a great line. But yeah, I was gonna say that music for me as well. Like, I really, really love it. It's actually something I've spoken about, before, around how music in gaming is such a big thing. I mean, you see sort of one of my favorite YouTube rabbit holes to go down was these guys that would make like they would DJ, they would make music from like Mario, like SFX sounds and things like that, and kind of bring it into their music, and it turns into like this whole genre of like almost like mini gaming, niche gaming, just sort of powered music tracks and things like that. So I just think music to me is just like a really, really beautiful thing. It was a big reason to even like have a music label at Nibble, which is weird because it's like we're in gaming, but it's not. But I think the thing is, music is important to all of us and everything that we do. So I'm very much in the same wavelength as Cash. Where like, just give me all of the energy and creativity at once.
Yeah, I love that. I knew we had the right people to chat about this. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about fashion in gaming, fashion in and around gaming, and we'll be right back.
Okay, Kian, who are you? My name is Kian Triton Gibson, and I'm the rifler for Bravado Gaming.
Favorite map and why?
My favorite map is Vertigo because I think it has a nice balance of simplicity and complexity, and I think it just generally plays really well.
Okay, who's more likely to overbuy on the server?
Aaron.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, yeah.
No, it's Kian, dude. I've buy to 1-1. I've got a deal, guys. It's fine.
No, but it's fine because I'm always dropping on North anyway. So.
Kian, as a fellow lover of CS2, what are your thoughts currently?
I think it's really good. People are being a bit too rough on it. It plays fine. I mean, if you consider it to when CSGO came out or when Source came out, I think it's really solid. Obviously, there's still some improvements, but I think by next year it'll be good to go.
How did you get the name Triton?
It's not really such a crazy story. I was watching a game show called The Chase, and I think it was like one of Jupiter's moons or something. I'm like, that sounds cool.
Kian, who is the most irritating player to go up against?
The most irritating player to play against is probably Voljan because he doesn't miss.
Round number 22, Volj. Oh my, what the f?
Okay, and not in this team?
That's a tough one because you already said Sean.
So it is Sean.
It's Sean. It's Sean. This guy, Voljan doesn't miss, he doesn't miss through Sean.
Welcome back. We are chatting to Glenn and Micheline. We're going to be talking a little bit about fashion in gaming. Micheline is a professional cosplayer. Glenn is also someone who has a bit of background in gaming fashion. Glenn, I actually want you to clarify that for me because you pioneered something and I want you to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously, you know, the idea with Nibble and gaming was really to talk around a lot of the lifestyle aspects of gaming. And obviously, you know, fashion absolutely being one of those. And, you know, cosplay, there's so much that goes in that as well. And that's definitely an aspect I want to bring into the stuff that we do more. But yeah, one of the things we did last year with Rage was to do the first sort of the first gaming fashion show in Africa. And I mean, it was a really simple fashion show in and of itself. Yeah, I don't think we pushed the envelope in that regard, but it was just really cool to just speak to brands in the gaming space, and I wanted to speak to orgs as well. And, you know, the idea is definitely for the next one to do it a lot more inclusive one. But yeah, it was just really cool to have this fashion show and just have people just strutting up and down the catwalk. And then just kind of, you know, put on and just showcases a lot of the really, really rad fashion from, you know, the niche stalls that happen at Rage and the other gaming expos, as well as just some really, really talented designers and brands that we have in Africa, actually, just to showcase gaming. So it was really cool. I was really, really stoked that we managed to pull off something like that.
Yeah, I remember being around at the time and that was absolutely mind-blowing. What makes it gaming fashion? Like, what makes it specific to gaming?
So, I mean, yeah, we spoke specifically to brands that were in gaming. So I know Kudu had like quite a cool like range of clothing from their PlayStation collection and things like that. And then we also spoke to gaming brands within obviously specifically more the South African scene, but yeah, like keyboard brands that came in and showcased their stuff, you know, computer brands as well. I mean, we had a sort of Asus come on as well and showcase a lot of the merch they do. You know, low-key make some of my favorite merch. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it was brands that are in gaming, and I think it goes back to the point that, you know, we were talking about earlier, where there's so much in gaming that's not just gaming, like music, like fashion, and then everything in between.
Micheline, I wanted to ask you, what do you find rewarding about the cosplay process? I think it's an interesting thing to think about. Like, is it the process of creating? Is it the inspiration? Is it the excitement? Is it, you know, the reactions from people? What is the rewarding thing about, or what is the enjoyment about for cosplay?
So for me personally, I grew up, I didn't have any brothers. I really wanted a brother, but I didn't grow up with any brothers. So I had a lot of like boyfriends when I was a kid. So I grew up a lot, like around a lot of video games. And I just idolized a lot of the women in the video games. Like Lara Croft was the first and only poster I had in my room as a kid. So yeah, I loved it so much. I feel like I identify with a lot of the characters I cosplay as well on some level. So for me, it's rewarding in a way where I kind of can be that person for a day. Like, it's so just immersive, you disassociating for a while. And also, I personally don't compete. I was competing in a lot of sports as a kid, so I kind of took myself out of that. I really enjoy the people's reactions just because some of my cosplays are very niche. So for instance, my Catwoman is not a recent Catwoman. It's a Catwoman that's nearly 30 years old. So just seeing the recognition in people's eyes and seeing that they too love a character that I love, and we've got something in common and something to talk about and get excited about, that's definitely really rewarding for me.
Glenn, I actually want to ask you the same thing. What sort of makes you think I'm going to do this when we know that it's probably not about the money when it comes to art? Like, you absolutely have to be passionate to start with. Famous, well-known artists that really make it are like making money. But for the initial, the beginning of creating, it's really not about that. So what is your sort of inspiration in terms of like the fashion show, everything that you do with art? Where does the reward come in for you initially?
It's definitely, it goes back to what I was talking around before, like just concepts. Like I get really excited about the thinking behind something. I know that sounds super vague, but I genuinely just, why people do what they do and how they process and approach things. When it comes to like any idea, that, whether we're executing it at Nibble or with the client or whatever it is, for me, it's always about the why. Like, what is it that we're doing it for? The gaming fashion show was just a celebration of the beautiful, like culture within gaming, and that's often where it sort of comes back to. Other times it's about creating a platform for people to talk about something, or for just like hidden gems within like the world of gaming, the industry. It's definitely very rarely about money. I think all of us also know just gaming generally, I mean, across the board, it's definitely not something you come into it wanting to make big bucks. Become an accountant rather. I promise you it'll go easier. But yeah, it's just always about the why. I think, with clients as well, sometimes, of course, when you're working with clients, a lot of that is around the ROI for the business. And of course, their financial, part of it, right? Are you driving sales for products or a service or whatever the case? But above that, you can also tell a really beautiful story. And I think it's something that I think everyone at Nibble gets sick of me saying, but it's always like, I really love storytelling. What is the story to tell you? Who is the story you're telling, or who are you allowing to tell their story? I like something like this. I really love these kind of things where people get to share their stories and chat amongst each other.
Yeah. I love seeing the sort of cross-pollination around these things. It's like, okay, we thought of like two very creative people, and yet you're so different in some respects, and I think that's just so interesting, to talk about that common ground. Also, Glenn, you were talking about sort of the cultural aspect of gaming, and how even if you're not a gamer, you will pick up on cultural trends that come straight out of gaming. I think it really is like a pioneering, for lack of a better word, a pioneering cultural experience, creative and cultural experience. So that's really interesting for me to see. So what are we both looking forward to in terms of art and gaming? I want to hazard a guess and say, Micheline, for you, it's probably Comic-Con around the corner as we speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I'm really excited for Comic-Con. I think this is probably going to be the biggest one for me personally yet. And yeah, I've built up such a community there. Over the years, I've tried to make friends with as many vendors as I could, and as many of the people who are cosplaying or who are playing, like if they've got esports events as well. So I've got a little bit of a community there. That's so nice for me to go up to Joburg and to see everyone and just kind of just enjoy the bliss of just checking out and just having 4 days of fun.
Glenn?
I'm actually sitting here trying to think. It's been a long year. So my exciting stuff, to be honest, I'm like thinking of just playing Starfield, like with my partner. Just you know what I mean? Like I really love. To be honest with you, what I'm quite excited about. I think when you're working in the industry, there's always so much happening, and things like Comic-Con and all the expos. Like I'm super excited about those things. Of course, getting to see people again and all those things. But honestly, I'm actually just looking forward to just getting back to just pure gaming. I think there's been so many great games that have come out recently across the board, like everything from Zelda to like Baldur's Gate and Starfield and everything in between, and things like local Valorant servers, that are like pushing the African esports and gaming scene. Like I'm just looking forward to just playing games with mates. IRL, offline. That's genuinely what I'm quite keen for.
Awesome. Glenn and Micheline, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Super looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store for the future, and I'll be watching in a not weird way.
Thank you so much.
There's so much brilliant art in the world of gaming. Thank you again to our guests Glenn and Micheline for their time. Don't miss the next episode of The Roundtable.